Hello everybody, my name is YujimboXD and welcome to the channel, and we are back looking at some more Hearts of Iron 4, and today we finally get to look at the new DLC, Arms Against Tyranny, a DLC more focused on overhauling the northern countries of Europe, as well as adding a few other new features, which I'll discuss more here in detail in a moment. But first, if you are new here, I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, and if you want to see more Hearts of Iron 4, go ahead and hit that like button. Alright, let's get into the video. Hello, welcome! As I said, this is the new Arms Against Tyranny DLC. And I thought today we'd try something a little bit different, something that I've never tried on this channel before. This is the first major DLC to come out since I started making videos for Hearts of Iron, so I thought I'd actually give reviewing the DLC a shot and see how that goes. This is not a sponsored video, so this will be my honest opinion. Thought we'd come in and do a quick review of it, and I could show off some of the features of the game, and maybe you can decide for yourself whether or not it's worth 20 bucks. First, let's discuss some of the new features, and then we'll look at the focus trees, and I'll give you my thoughts on them. Along with a series of updates to the AI and a few other bug fixes, they added new features to the game, as well as new achievements to go along with those features and focus trees. Unleash your inner Nick Cage and become a Lord of War with the new International Arms Marketplace, where now you can buy and sell equipment on the open market to other nations that you're friendly with. So if you notice, there is a brand new button up here for International Market, which then takes you into the buy screen where you can purchase all sorts of new equipment from countries that you're friendly with. Everything from infantry equipment all the way up to artillery pieces, and even tanks and planes are on offer. Once you've found a friendly nation to trade with, you have this new screen that you can then purchase the weapons from. You use your civilian factory's production for a time to cover the cost of anything you purchase. And the more equipment you try to purchase, the higher the cost goes, and the more deliveries it takes. And you can speed up the number of deliveries by increasing the number of civilian factories you have committed to this trade. And in return, the receiving country will get these civilian factories for a period of time over the course of the deliveries. Like I said, not only can you buy weapons, but you can also become an international arms merchant. It's a good way to get rid of your excess equipment and get something in return, and if you're a smaller nation, it allows you to get some desperately needed military equipment. And I can tell you, playing in some of the smaller nations, this is definitely huge. This is going to help out a ton. So I would say in the end, it's probably more useful for the smaller nations, but hey, at least if you're a big player and you got lots of extra equipment, you finally got something to do with it, so I do approve of it. Next up, they've overhauled parts of the industry mechanics of this game, so now your production design teams can level up and get new perks and specialize into different types of technology and bonuses. And as you level up your weapon designers, it unlocks a new focus tree unique to that type of equipment, and here you can choose different specializations that give you different types of bonuses. So it gives you a little more customization on how exactly you want to build your types of equipment. Whereas before, tanks and planes were the only things that could be designed, now every aspect of your equipment can be tweaked and designed. Everything from all your military equipment to your ships to your planes, each one having their own unique perk tree, unique to that type of equipment. So now you can specialize your economy and you can specialize your equipment for whatever task you might need. And you basically can level up your design teams by completing more research by using that design team as the researchers for any new equipment, and then producing equipment from any of these companies will also provide experience and will level up these companies. So just keep building equipment and keep doing research, and you'll get more specialization points and perks as you go along. You can even implement policies to make the numbers go up even more. And now, onto the focus trees. And first up, we have Finland. And first thing I noticed is they got rid of Zombie Colio, and they've replaced it with this man whose face is made out of some sort of breakable porcelain. They have their new focus tree, which has your typical left, right, and neutrality path. So you can go communist, or you can go fascist, or you could stay neutral. So you can try and make friends with your neighbors and prevent an invasion from one of the other major powers. But of course, the main focus of Finland is definitely around the Winter War. It was on all the marketing for the game, so I believe this is where most of the effort has gone into. It's definitely one of the things they wanted you to try out with this new DLC. So now you too can relive the Winter War of 1939 and try and hold off the Soviets. This is a pretty interesting focus tree, and even though this is historically accurate, you still have the option to bring in some other Nordic countries to help with your defense. Perhaps you can then use your allies as meat shields to hold off the Soviet hordes. And it gives you several options to play with your new allies to hold off the Red Menace, or anyone else who might want to learn how the Molotov cocktail got its name. Next up, we have Sweden, where the wild death metal bands roam. And we looked at not too long ago on the channel, and I even remarked back then that their lack of a focus tree I thought was a bit odd. But now they finally have one, and it's a little bit different from the rest. Of course, you always have the options to switch your ideologies, but it's a bit later in the tree. Although it does have basically two different neutrality paths you can go, where you can either side with the Allies or try and go it your own way with the other Nordic countries. And Sweden is arguably the most powerful of all the starting Nordic countries. Because of all the starting Nordic countries, Sweden starts with the most manpower and factories. And it seems like with all the new bonuses their focus tree gives them, that uniting all the Scandinavian countries is easier than ever. So being the strongest Nordic country, you have the most options to go out and spread out and conquer. So you can lead a strong and flexible nation, and who doesn't want to be strong and flexible? Next up, we have Norway, who starts off led by this man, Johan, which I was expecting more of a Gunnar Gunnarsson, but I guess he'll have to do. And their focus tree is a bit interesting. Not only do you have the typical three choices, each of those having two sub-branches of their own. So you have two socialist trees, two kind of unaligned / democratic trees, and while they only give you one flavor of fascism, you do have the option to go monarchist for those who think they're playing Crusader Kings, as well as a small handful of other trees for other things like military spending. Although this does give you a few more interesting choices when playing as Norway, it feels like you're just playing a weaker Sweden with the added risk of being invaded by the Germans if you're playing with historical on. Next up, we have Legoland masquerading as a country called Denmark. And as Denmark, you start off in the most precarious situation, being that you border a very aggressive Germany if playing on historical mode. Again, trying to differentiate itself from its other Nordic brothers, this only has two political focus trees you can really go down, left or right. And of course, we have a few other smaller focus trees to try and beef up your economy and military so you don't get absolutely clobbered by the Germans. So you could cozy up to a more powerful faction to stop yourself from getting steamrolled, or you could try embracing your inner Ragnar Lothbrok and try and bring back the Danelaw. It's also worth noting that all the Nordic countries do have the Form the Nordic Council tree as well, so forming an alliance is possible as any of the Nordic countries, and they give you a few focuses to beef up those alliances. And with that, there is one more nation we need to look at. One more that I know everyone has been asking for the longest time, and Paradox has finally listened to us all, everyone's favorite rock in the North Atlantic, Iceland. Yes, a nation so important that they sometimes forget to mention that they added a new focus tree in the marketing for this, but they do in fact have a new focus tree to play with. This is the smallest of all the new focus trees they've added, but there are still a few options. You have a left and a right tree, so you can stay more historical, or you can try and go down one of the more extreme paths, which lead to a few more interesting options. Then I figured, what better way to see what this is all like than playing through one of the countries, and I noticed one of the new achievements that I think we can actually get. So this is a quick little bonus achievement run on top of this review. So we are playing as Iceland. We have Iron Man mode on and historical off, and I'll explain as we get into it. Yes, so here we are in Iceland, whose entire population is the size of some starting nation's entire armies. The first thing we're going to need to do is to switch to communists. So first focus you want to pick is #NotMyKing, but this is another luck-based achievement, so we also need the British to go communist as well. So this may take a few attempts, but I'll show you how we know whether or not they're going to do it. And honestly, the rest of the stuff, the research, production, don't need to bother with any of this. If we do it the way that I think we can do this. So I'll be honest, I only in theory know how to get this achievement, and it seemed easy, but we'll see. Unfortunately, you do have to wait a little bit for Britain to start doing their focuses. Usually with historical off, they start with their economy focus for a while, so you won't see the things you're looking for a bit. So this may may take a few restarts. Once you finish anti-capitalist propaganda, go ahead and get yourself the Marxist philosopher to help speed things up a little bit. And pray to communist RNGesus that they take the right focuses. Alright, we had to wait basically a full year in-game, but they finally started to do their focus, and I can tell because they have change in course. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do what we want them to. That means they're either going to go fascist or communist. There we go, that's what we were waiting for. Now we know they're going down the correct path. The socialist path. You can also go down this tree if you want to get a free spy agency. I don't think you'll need it, but it could come in handy. Once you get to 30% popularity with the Socialist Party, you can then break with the crown. Oh yeah, did I mention you start as a puppet of Denmark? It's kind of irrelevant, honestly, because you can break free almost immediately. Now that we've officially declared our independence, we get a new flag and a new leader whose name looks like somebody just mashed their keyboard in rage. And the other big issue is we need to finish infiltrating the British Isles before they can give away Northern Ireland, because we need them to hang on to that piece. Alright, that took several more restarts than I thought it was going to, because they just wanted to keep giving away Northern Ireland, but I finally was able to finish the focus in time before they've given it away, and now we have these 3 buttons, and if I've done everything correctly, this should be everything we need to do now. So let's start the revolution across the Isles. So there we go. There is our new communist states inside of England. Let's see what they do. They are not our puppet, and we're not in alliance with them in any way. And I realistically don't know what our lone division over here is going to do, but I don't think Sven's going to be too much help. Hey, but you know what? Got the achievement, and that's what counts. So there is our first new achievement for the expansion, Brexit. As communist Iceland, make Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland rise up against the United Kingdom. So yeah, I thought I would just toss in this extra little achievement. I wouldn't necessarily call it easy. It's entirely luck-based. You don't need to do anything. You just really need for the UK to start down the communist path, and then take their time revisiting colonial policy, because the achievement requires the UK to have control of all these 3 places, so if they end up giving away Northern Ireland, this won't work. And Wales is dead immediately, and so is Scotland. And there we go, about a week later, Northern Ireland. So they're dead immediately. So I don't know what the point of any of that was, but at least I got to mess with the British, and that's always fun. Yeah, I thought I would just throw this in here, nice little cheeky bonus achievement. Didn't seem like I could make a full video out of that, and I figured it was pretty easy. And it was, but it was incredibly tedious and luck-based. But there we go. That is our first look at a nation for the new expansion. My thoughts on the whole experience and the DLC as a whole. I enjoyed it. I think the best part about this is the international marketplace. I like the idea that you're able to get rid of your equipment if you're one of the major powers, and if you're a minor power, it allows you to pick up some guns, which I think will make certain runs easier as some smaller nations. And I do like the idea that you can build up your own company, start your own mega corporation, and have them specialize into different kinds of weaponry. Really get ahead of people in the arms race. But yeah, overall, I think I enjoyed it. I'm glad that some countries that had just the generic focus tree finally get some love, and you can make the argument that mods add focus trees for this game, but at the same time, what are you getting for 20 bucks? You're getting new features, and you're getting new focus trees, and for a game that I've put well over 1,000 hours into, I think it's worth spending a little bit more money on to really get more out of the game and support the developers. So I think this was one of the better DLCs in my opinion, so if you agree or you disagree, go ahead and let me know down below. But this is where we're going to leave it off for tonight. If you stuck around and watched this video to the end, thank you so much. If you like what you saw, you can always hit that subscribe button down below. All right, have a good night, everyone.